In this video, I'm going to go over my top 3 reasons why I love and don't love my Camp Chef Woodwind 36 pellet grill. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin, and in this video I wanted to share a little bit about my sometimes love-hate relationship that I have with my pellet grill, and specifically the Camp Chef Woodwind 36. Now, I actually went to the pellet grill from a progression of electric smokers, and I even had a Weber Smoky Mountain at some point, and then I decided, hey, I want to try pellet grill. Everyone's talking about it. I can infuse the same kind of wood smoke with the wood fire and all that cool stuff, and I get to set it and forget it. That's awesome, you know. So I totally bought into the marketing, and I picked up not only one, but I've had 2 of these Woodwinds. I've had the Gen 1 and I now have the Gen 2. So if you're in the market for a Camp Chef Woodwind specifically, or any kind of pellet grill, hopefully something I share in this video will be helpful for you to making your final decision. The first thing I love about this particular pellet grill, which actually applies to all pellet grills, is the set it and forget it nature of it. You fill in the hopper with all your pellets, the pellets of choice, and you set to the temperature you want, and you just let it go. And that's all it is. There's no fire management. You don't have to keep coming back to make sure that your fire is staying up to temp. You don't have to make sure usually that you have enough pellets in there. You just let that thing go for a solid 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. And really the only thing you have to do is make sure to come back and maybe spritz the particular piece of meat that you are cooking, and just to make sure everything is going smoothly. But temperature wise, you don't have to worry about anything. And the second reason why I love my pellet grill, and this is more specific to the Camp Chef Woodwind series, is that you can actually add a 14-inch accessory to the side. And so I have on mine the Sidekick, which has the burner, so I can throw on a pot of beans, I can throw on a kettle on there. I also have the grillet plate on the side, so I can make up some pancakes, some eggs, and whatever it is. So it's very versatile. And there's also accessories like the pizza oven and the sear station that you can add on there. And that's pretty phenomenal to have everything in this all-in-one package. Now, number 3, and this is actually one of the main reasons why I even went from the Woodwind Generation 1 to the Woodwind Generation 2, is that in the Gen 2, they added the Wi-Fi ability. So now you've got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so you can control the temperature, the amount of smoke you're putting on this thing, and you can even monitor meat probes. And this unit has 4 meat probes. So now in one app, I can flip this thing open. I can right here set my temperature. I can adjust how much smoke I want to actually infuse into the cook. And then of course I have these 4 probes, and I can even put in target temperatures, and the app will alert me and let me know as either the grill or the meat probes are getting to a certain temperature, so which is pretty phenomenal. So all in all, I really like the Camp Chef Woodwind. I would say that it actually has filled up this gap for me between like that very basic electric smoker that really didn't put out much flavor at all, into like the higher maintenance offset cooking experience. It honestly fills in that gap perfectly. Like I can walk out there on a busy day and just throw on some meat, even mac and cheese if I want to smoke some of that, potatoes, whatever it is, and I can just set it and forget it and continue on my dad life if I'm managing the kids that day or whatever it is. And so it's really useful. Now, with all that said though, if I were to do this all again, would I get the Camp Chef Woodwind specifically? I'm not sure. And before I even get into that though, let me list off the kind of the 3 things I don't love about maybe pellet grills, but also specifically this Woodwind. Okay, number 1, and this is for all pellet grills, the flavor just ain't there. Now again, mind you, I came from an electric smoker, which compared to that, the pellet grills are phenomenal. But then I went to actually my second cooker was the Weber Smoky Mountain. I had an 18.5-inch Weber Smoky Mountain. And to date, one of the best briskets I've ever had was cooked on that thing. We're talking about like just beautiful smoke, beautiful bark formation, right? Meat was super tender. Everything was like locked in there. So that flavor was just so good, so juicy, so moist. And it was a wonderful piece of brisket. And I keep thinking about that moment and I go, I've yet to ever create, produce, or cook something to that caliber on a pellet grill. Now, while you can actually buy all sorts of different kinds of pellets, whether it's like hickory or someone's competition blend or oak or whatever it might be, in my experience, you just can't get that fully smoky flavor trapped into whatever you're cooking on a pellet grill. And you're definitely not gonna get the same bark formation you would cooking on something with a live fire or something like, again, a Weber Smoky Mountain, a drum smoker, even a Kamado Joe, definitely not an offset. And so that's one of the drawbacks for me, why I don't see the pellet grill as kind of like my one forever grill that I can stick with, especially since now I've had barbecue cooked on, again, these live fire cookers. Now, number two, this one might be a little bit more subjective, but depending on where you are and how easy it is to source wood to cook with, pellets are expensive. And so if you are using a pellet grill primarily as your like number one all-around smoker, cooker, and all these other things, you're gonna have to factor in that you're gonna be dropping 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 bucks per bag, depending on what kind of quality pellets you're after, name brand or not name brand. Is it a particular mix or a particular wood that you like? And for me personally, it's been a crapshoot. Sometimes I'll pick up a bag of Traeger pellets and it's great, and I'll go back for a second one and it just didn't come out the same. Or I've also been using cooking pellets and they're perfect mix, and that's been my go-to as far as cost and quality. But I picked up like a 40-pound bag a couple months ago and it was awful. Like, it tasted like cardboard. And so you do kind of have to go around and figure out which pellets work for you and kind of have to dial that in. But again, by the time you end up kind of experimenting with all of these things, you're hundreds of dollars in on pellets. Now, if you look at the other end of it, is if you have the ability to get your own cooking wood, if you're able to source that locally, if you have it in your backyard, wherever you live, then that actually might be a lot cheaper, and you have a better control of what kind of fuel you're using to fire up the grill, and also determine what kind of flavor profile you want to set into that cook as well. So that's my number two, cost of pellets, something to consider. Number three, I would say this is more specific to the Camp Chef Woodwind 36, and I'm assuming the 24, and this is the Gen 2, and it's gonna be around their design. And when I say design, I don't just mean like the mechanical, but also kind of the electronic components. Number one is that this thing advertises a 22-pound hopper basket. So that means you can pour 22 pounds of pellets into this hopper and trust that this thing will burn through all of those things before you have to worry about refilling. And that's a big deal. Most bags out there are only 20 pounds. So 22 over the top, that is awesome. That's a great upgrade. Except without fail, if I ever let this hopper get down to about 4 pounds of pellets, it gets stuck. So if you look at this trap right here, where the auger is spinning, there are no pellets in there. Everything gets stuck along the edge. And on top of that, if you look in through this fancy window from the outside where it shows you how many pellets you have, it looks like you have plenty of pellets in there to finish the cook. But nope. Instead, all of the pellets get stuck on the outside. I don't know if my Traeger friends or RecTech friends or Pit Boss friends out there, whoever else is making pellet grills, if you've had this experience, but on the Camp Chef, I've had this issue with not only this Gen 2 36, but I also had it on my Gen 1 24. So that is a huge design flaw in my opinion. And on top of that, there is this safety grill on the very top of the hopper. So you can't actually get in there and actually spin it. You have to find like a weird contraption to get in there. And I get it, you don't want to get your fingers caught in the auger, but still annoying. Okay, and the other part of the issue that I have with the design is actually with how they worked in whatever they had to do to get in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth working on this thing. I say that because it is such a pain. It was such a pain, and it is sometimes still such a pain to set up the Wi-Fi on the Camp Chef unit, just because sometimes it wouldn't connect, or it says it's about to connect and then it doesn't fully connect, or it says it's connected, but then when you try and connect the app, it doesn't work. I've gone back and forth with customer service a few times on this. There's plenty of forums out there that talk about the issues that people have. Camp Chef has had to replace some units for other people. I wasn't one of them. Luckily, I was able to experiment with a handful of things, like getting a separate and dedicated router that only puts out a 2.4 gigahertz frequency and connect it that way. I've been able to move our mesh router closer to the backyard and to the grill so that it maintains a more solid connection. But all in all, it's been a very frustrating experience getting that thing to work reliably on Wi-Fi. All right, so taking all of these different things into account, if I were to do this all over again, would I buy the Camp Chef Woodwind 36? Honestly, at this point, I don't really use the sear box that often, and I don't actually use the griddle plate that often either. I don't use the pizza accessory, any of that stuff. And so for me, I'm just looking at the pellet grill. If I were to do this all again, would I get this one? The answer is most likely not. Just given the issues that I've had with the hopper, and given the issues that I've had with their Wi-Fi controllers, most likely I would try a different brand. Now, I don't know anything, however, about the reliability of Traeger's Wirefire, or whatever it is, or what these other companies can do. But again, just given my experience, I would definitely start by looking in other places. Now lastly, for those of you who are watching this video and you are actually hoping to get some insight into what you should buy and you're looking for that one grill to replace all the other grills, I'll say this: a pellet grill is indeed a jack of all trades and a master of none. Meaning, if you're coming from an electric grill or a propane grill that uses, and when I say grill, I mean like a cabinet smoker that relies on wood chips and smoldering them to add a little bit of wood flavor, you're gonna have a much better experience on a pellet grill. But if you are someone who has had delicious barbecue cooked on a traditional offset or something on a live fire, and then you want to replicate that with a pellet grill, I would say you are not going to have your expectations fully met. And that's just my experience, my opinion. For me, if you're comfortable with that and you can only have one grill, pellet grill for sure. But if you are able to, and you're really chasing that authentic barbecue where you can get that nice bark on there, deep smoke rings, great flavor, you're not going to be able to beat an offset. That's just the way it is. Anyhow, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback, your experiences on the type of grills that you're using. If you do have a pellet grill that you absolutely love, and it's, I don't know, Traeger, Rectech, whoever it is, feel free to drop those names in the comments, let me know, and I can do some research going that direction as well. As always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and support the channel if you can, and we'll see you next time on Who's Smoking.